Have you ever felt something off right in the heart of a bustling city? New York, where the lights never dim, yet darkness still creeps into the hidden corners. I am Mr. Night Shriek, and this story is not fiction. It's what I've lived through, what makes me unable to sleep without a light on. Listen closely, but I warn you, once you step into this story, you won't be able to look away. I had just returned from a business trip in Chicago, exhausted but eager to breathe New York's air again. My old friend Jack texted me, asking when I'd be back. He lived in an old neighborhood in Brooklyn, not too far from Manhattan, and invited me to stop by. "It's been too long, Night Shriek," he wrote. "Come over, have a few drinks, catch up." I smiled, thinking a relaxing evening with Jack was exactly what I needed. The GPS guided me through narrow streets, neon lights reflecting off my car's windows. Jack's house came into view. A red brick building, old-fashioned, with a weathered wooden porch. As I stepped onto the porch, the wood creaked under my feet, and a smell of aged wood, like an abandoned cabin, hit my nose. Jack opened the door, giving me a tight hug. "Night Shriek, my man. Come on in." Inside, the house felt like it belonged in the 1970s. The furniture was outdated, the wooden floors creaked with every step, but there was something cozy about it, as if time had frozen. We sat in the living room sipping whiskey, talking about old times. One drink became two, then three. The room grew hazy, warm, but also heavier. By around 10 p.m., Jack clapped me on the shoulder. "Dude, you're drunk. It's a long drive back. Crash here." I hesitated, but he was right. I couldn't drive in this state. "Got a spare room?" I asked. Jack grinned. "Spare room, not the couch, man. It's not fancy, but it's comfy enough." Jack led me down a short hallway, the dim light from an old ceiling bulb casting shadows. The spare room was small, with a single bed, a wooden wardrobe, and a window covered by thick curtains. I was too drunk to notice much, collapsing onto the bed and falling into a deep sleep. In the middle of the night, I woke up. My mouth was dry, my head spinning. The room was pitch black, except for a faint sliver of moonlight slipping through the curtain's gap. I lay there trying to remember where I was, when my eyes landed on the corner of the room. On the wardrobe door, something was hanging. At first, I thought it was a long black coat on a rack, but as my eyes adjusted to the dark, its shape made my heart pound. It didn't look like fabric. It had broad shoulders, like a figure standing still, motionless. I tried to convince myself I was drunk, that it was just a hallucination. But the feeling of being watched, as if someone was staring at me from that corner, sent chills down my spine. I rolled over, facing the wall, trying not to look back. But curiosity, or maybe fear, made me glance again. It was still there. The figure didn't move, but I swore it was closer. I squeezed my eyes shut, took a deep breath, and forced myself back to sleep. The next time I woke, dawn was breaking. Weak sunlight filtered through the curtains. I turned to the corner, and my stomach dropped. The figure was gone. No coat, no rack, just an empty wardrobe door. I bolted upright, my heart racing, my body trembling with a mix of fear and the lingering effects of alcohol. I rushed out of the room, running to Jack's bedroom. He was snoring, completely unaware of the panic coursing through me. I shook him awake. "Jack, the coat in that room. Where is it?" Jack rubbed his eyes, yawning. "What coat?" "The black coat on the wardrobe door. It looked like a person." Jack sat up, looking confused. Night Shriek, I don't have a black coat. There's no coat rack in that room. I stared at him, waiting for a grin, for him to say it was a prank. But Jack's face remained serious. You sure you weren't dreaming? He asked. I know what I saw, I shouted, my voice shaking. We went back to the spare room. Nothing. No coat, no rack, no sign of anyone. But the silence in the room made me shudder. It wasn't normal silence. It was as if the room was waiting for something. A few months later, I decided to get out of New York for a break. A group of friends invited me to camp in a nature reserve near upstate New York. There was me, my girlfriend Lynn, and two other friends, Min and Thao. The plan was to pitch tents, build a fire, and enjoy a night under the stars. We arrived at a small gravel parking lot surrounded by dense forest. In the distance, about a 10-minute walk away, was a pristine beach. As we got out of the car, I noticed an old beat-up vehicle parked at the far end of the lot. It looked abandoned, its windows cloudy, no one inside. Weird, I thought, but didn't say anything. We set up camp in the parking lot instead of the beach, as Lynn said she felt uneasy near the water at night. Min and Thao shared one tent, while Lynn and I took the other. After setting up, we sat in our tent, watching videos on our phones, eating snacks, and laughing. By midnight, we decided to sleep. Suddenly, a piercing metallic sound echoed from the parking lot. Lynn and I jumped, staring at each other. What was that? Lynn whispered, her voice trembling. The sound continued, a shovel being tossed into a trunk, then the trunk slamming shut. Then an engine roared and the car sped off, leaving an eerie silence. We sat frozen, hearts pounding. Lynn gripped my hand. Someone's out there, she said. I texted Min, asking if they heard it. Min replied that they had, and Thao was panicking. About 10 minutes later, as we started to calm down, a blood-curdling scream tore through the night. A man's scream, full of pain and desperation, coming from deep in the forest. Lynn started crying, and I felt my blood run cold. I called Min, yelling through the phone. Did you hear that? Someone's in danger. Min tried to reassure me, but his voice was shaky. Maybe it's an animal, Night Shriek. Don't panic. But I knew it wasn't an animal. That scream was too human. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Someone was walking around our tents, slowly, as if trying not to be noticed. Lynn clutched my hand, her eyes wide with fear. The footsteps moved from our tent to Min and Thao's, then stopped near our car. I turned off my phone's light, not wanting to reveal our position. In the darkness, I heard breathing, heavy like something out of a horror movie. Then headlights swept across our tent, and the car sped off again. I peeked through the tent's small window. The beat-up car had returned, and I saw the shadow of a man getting in before it vanished into the dark. 5 minutes later, a police car raced by, its red lights flashing, heading in the same direction as the other car. We didn't know what was happening, but no one dared sleep. Lynn and I moved to the car, locked the doors, and I stayed awake until 5 a.m., watching the forest. The next morning, we packed up and left immediately. Back in New York, I researched the reserve. What I found made my stomach churn. Just weeks before, a man had been murdered in that forest, stabbed to death over a gang dispute. Even more chilling, 2 others had gone missing near the beach, their bodies never found. When I was a kid, I lived with my parents and older brother Nam in an old house in Queens. Nam was 2 years older than me, and we shared a large bedroom on the second floor. My dad was strict about bedtime, 8:30 p.m., no exceptions. One night when I was about 6, Nam shook me awake in the middle of the night. "Night Shriek, be quiet and listen," he whispered. I rubbed my eyes, confused, but then I heard it. My mom's voice calling our names from downstairs. But the voice, it wasn't right. It was too soft, too eerie, like someone trying to mimic her. I started to get up, but Nam grabbed me. "Don't go, that's not Mom." "Stop scaring me," I snapped, but fear was creeping in. I tiptoed to the door, pressing my ear against it. The voice was clearer. "Nam, Night Shriek." I turned to Nam. "That's Mom." Nam shook his head. "It's not." Gathering my courage, I opened the bedroom door and cracked the stairwell door. Down below in the darkness was a figure, a woman, but instantly I knew it wasn't Mom. She saw me, and a sickly sweet voice called out, "Come here, sweetie." I slammed the door, locked it, and ran back to the room sobbing. Nam hugged me, whispering, "I told you." We counted to 3 and started screaming, stomping on the floor to wake our parents. Our parents burst upstairs, pounding on the door. When we told them, Mom's face went pale. "I wasn't calling you. I was asleep." Dad ran downstairs, checking the house, but found no one. That night I heard the doorbell, and from the window I saw a police car outside. My parents never gave details, only saying it was an intruder. But I knew they were hiding something. How did that woman know our names? When I was 16, I often walked home after hanging out with friends in Manhattan. One Saturday night, I went to my best friend Mai's place in the Lower East Side. My mom was on a date, so she told me to walk home if it got late. That night, Mai invited some guys I didn't like, especially a guy named Koa, who I'd had issues with. Annoyed, I texted Mai, argued with her, and decided to leave. A few minutes into my walk, I heard footsteps behind me. I slowed down, and the footsteps slowed too. I turned. A middle-aged man in a hoodie, hands in his pockets, smiling at me. "Hey there," he said. I mumbled hi and kept walking, picking up my pace. But he followed, always at a distance. He started talking. "Nice night, huh? You from around here?" I gave short, firm answers, my heart racing. I texted my friends for help, and Koa, despite our history, said he was coming to pick me up. Then the man said something that chilled me. "I'm not gonna hurt you. You live near the elementary school, right?" I turned, and his smile now looked predatory. I screamed, "Leave me alone," and ran. He chased me, but my screams scared him off. He vanished into the dark as house lights flicked on. Koa picked me up, and I invited him to stay because I was too scared to be alone. But that night, as we talked in my room, we heard footsteps circling the house. The backyard gate creaked. Then a man's voice came from the darkness. "I see you up there," I screamed, and Koa called the police. They arrived, searched the area, but found no one. When my mom got home, she installed security cameras everywhere. We moved a year later, but I'll never forget that man's eyes. These stories aren't just memories, they're reminders that darkness is always there, even in dazzling New York. I, Mr. Night Shriek, have faced nameless shadows, whispers with no source, but the question still haunts me. Were they human or something far worse? If you want to know what happens next, stay tuned, because my story isn't over. The darkness is still watching, and next time, it might call your name.